Welcome back. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo blasting his predecessor, John Kerry, for, quote, actively undermining U.S. policy in Iran by meeting with officials in Iran since leaving office. Pompeo tweeted this: what John Kerry has done by engaging with Iran's regime, the world's top state sponsor of terror, is unseemly, unprecedented, and inconsistent with U.S. foreign policy. The deal failed. Let it go. Former Connecticut Senator Joe Lieberman joins me right now to talk more about that. He is the chairman of United Against Nuclear Iran. He's also former chairman of the Senate Homeland Security Committee, and he was the Democratic vice presidential candidate in the year 2000. Good to see you, Senator. Thanks so much for joining us.
Maria. Thank you.
I mean, people are talking about the Logan Act. What is your take on John Kerry going around Pompeo and talking with Iran?
Yeah, I think the Logan Act is probably beside the point. It's been on the book for almost 2 centuries. I don't know that it's ever been enforced, but here's the point. America has only one Secretary of State at a given time, one president, and they have a right, as a result of their election, to conduct our foreign policy. When a former Secretary of State goes to see the foreign minister of Iran, particularly when that former Secretary of State, John Kerry, has a totally different position than the Trump administration, Secretary Pompeo, myself. I'm really grateful that the Trump administration pulled out of the Iran nuclear agreement. I thought it was a bad agreement for the United States. We've got Iran on the ropes now, and a meeting between John Kerry and the Iranian foreign minister really sends a message to them that somebody in America who's important may be trying to revive them and let them wait and be stronger against what the administration is trying to do, which is to get a better nuclear agreement with the Iranians. So I think it was a mistake for John Kerry to meet with the Iranian foreign minister. The only way I would say he should meet with any world leader today is if he was authorized by the current administration, and I would have said that if Condi Rice wanted to meet with somebody when Barack Obama was president.
Of course. You were against the Iran deal from the beginning, but John Kerry basically, he admitted it in his memoir, book tour, that he met with them 3 times. What is he trying to do? We're out of the deal. What is John Kerry going to do?
Right. Elections have consequences. And in this case, in my opinion, thank God, the election had the consequence of pulling us out of a bad agreement that didn't stop the Iran nuclear program, which is why we adopted all those economic sanctions in Congress all those years. It just forced them to put the brakes on for a while if they keep their word. So I think with John Kerry meeting with the Iranians, it encourages them, whether he said this or not, to believe that they can wait it out. They should be tougher with the U.S. The fact is, though even our allies in Europe seem to be clinging to that bad agreement, their businesses are exiting Iran, because if you give them a choice, as President Trump and Mike Pompeo have now forced them to make, between doing business with Iran, $500 billion GDP, and doing business with America, $21 trillion GDP, it's an easy choice.
Yeah,
they're going to get out of Iran, and that's what's happening now. And we ought not to. John Kerry ought not to lessen that impact on the Iranians when he got them in a point where they may really want to make a better deal.
It seems to me that the president's skeptics, whether it be John Kerry and the Obama administration, talking and trashing the president in these outings, or the mainstream media ignoring important stories, they are out of their minds over the outcomes that this president has had. 4+% economic growth, the outcome of his economic policy, the outcome of these judges. I mean, look at the Kavanaugh hearing. You've been a student of this for many years. Have you ever seen anything like the circus that we saw for the Brett Kavanaugh hearing 2 weeks ago?
Well, we've had some circuses even on Supreme Court nominations, which is so important. They probably first began in a way that seems quite temperate and civil now, with Judge Bork being nominated to the Supreme Court by President Reagan. And of course, last under President Obama, Judge Garland was delayed, didn't come up. But these hearings
on Kamala Harris, Cory Booker, the theatrics that they staged, they wanted the whole thing shut down.
Right. I have found these hearings on Kavanaugh, whatever you think of Judge Kavanaugh, to be, well, unseemly, to be very disappointing. And it's hard to believe that not so long ago, Justice Scalia was unanimously confirmed by the bipartisan Senate. Justice Ginsburg was confirmed 96-3. And what we've got now over the highest court is a mud fight, which brings the court and the country down. And it's just another example of the way partisanship, the parties and ideologies have taken over, and the best interests of the country are not served.
I don't think this is what the American people want, particularly going into the midterm elections. They want to see progress. If the Democrats take control and flip the House, nothing will get done in the next 2 years. Nothing.
Well, that's the challenge.
They'll stop everything that the president wants to do.
Yeah, absolutely. When I talk to people, and I see it on polls, what do people really want? They want problems solved.
Right.
They want the country to seize its opportunities for a better future, and they're really disgusted by the mess in Washington, by the partisan reflex back and forth, because as my friend John McCain, God bless him, would say, they're not putting, people in Washington are not putting the country first.
Yeah. And yet, that's what we see. We'll keep watching. Good to see you, Senator. Thanks very much.
Maria.
We appreciate you joining us. Joe Lieberman, the